Present here on behalf of Shiocom Media. My name is Upamanyu Bora, and I welcome each one of you at Apparelconnect 2018 Apparel Logistics Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are very well aware of the fact that India is an emerging economy, and apparel being one of the major export items of India, catering to the growth of the industry, the focus on transportation and logistics management further increases to ensure the seamless movement of goods. This fact points to the need and absolute relevance for a summit on apparel logistics in India. And that is why we have taken this initiative out here, so that not only our country turns self-sufficient, but also becomes a huge market model in the sphere of apparel logistics in the times to come. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to call upon Mr. Ajit, Director, Shiocom Media, to deliver the welcome speech and greet you all. Thank you.
Good morning, delegates. We at Shiocom Media extend a warm welcome to all delegates, sponsors, and media friends. We thank you for making a success of our endeavor of creating a platform for discussing apparel logistics. We are continuously striving to create interactive media platforms, print as well as networking opportunities, especially in logistics and education domain. As you are aware, in logistics, we publish Apparelconnect. Apparelconnect today is a global benchmark for a logistics industry magazine. Career Connect is the other magazine that we publish. It is a leading magazine in education and careers. Today we look ahead in the day to insightful discussions on apparel logistics. Upcoming knowledge sharing and networking logistics domain-specific conferences as engineered by Showcom Media are on auto, durables and e-commerce. Apparelconnect Pharma Logistics Conference is going to be the biggest event for the logistics industry in 2019. We look ahead in welcoming you for all the upcoming events in logistics. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I would now request our chief guest, Ms. Vandana Agarwal, Economic Advisor, Ministry of Civil Aviation, our guest of honor, Mr. Sanjay K. Jain, President, Confederation of Indian Textile Industry, and Sri H.K.L. Maggu, Chairman, Apparel Export Promotion Council, and Ms. Smriti Suri, Editor and Publisher, Showcom Media, to please proceed for lighting the lamp and formally inaugurate the event. Please join me in welcoming them, everyone. I would request Mr. Vipin Bora, Chairman of Continental Carriers Private Limited, and Mr. Keku Bhumi Gazar, CEO, Airports Authority of India Cargo Logistics and Allied Services Company Limited, to please join them. Advisor, Ministry of Civil Aviation, to please come over to the dais and say a few words on how national aviation policies are expected to boost apparel exports.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I must first of all apologize for upsetting the very good schedule that was there for the inaugural session. And I can only say that sometimes in our lives we get our schedules gone all awry because of priorities of the work. So I do have meetings which have been lined up from 10:30 onwards, which are beyond my control. If they were within my control, I assure you, I would have rescheduled them, and I would not have been a pest today to the organizers who have very graciously accommodated my very tight schedule to have me speak well in advance of the others whom I would have wished to hear as well. I can only add that the very fact that I wanted to come here in all seriousness, and I allowed for this schedule to be upset on my behalf, on my account, is because I wanted to engage with the suppliers. Textiles and apparel are the largest sector for air cargo, and in the nearly 1 year that I have been at the ministry, I must confess that it bothered me no end that there was no engagement with the textiles and apparel sector suppliers. Yes, there are representations, there are meetings with various logistics providers, but the engagement with suppliers was totally absent. For me, the suppliers were therefore a silent majority or a silent stakeholder whose interests we could not in the ministry capture adequately. True, we did it through various stakeholders in the entire supply chain, in the value chain, but to me that is not the right way of doing it. So therefore, I welcome this interaction, which is my first interaction with the textiles and apparel community of India. I remember very well the battles we used to wage. I used to negotiate on the World Trade Organization under the Doha round, so I remember the textiles agreement and the battle for quotas for LDCs and for others, which continued to remain, just as our own quotas extinguished very much ahead of time when all manner of non-tariff barriers, even if it means non-ad valorem duties, were impacting our exports very seriously to the developed countries. So now that I am looking at logistics, I cannot but recall those days when the textiles sector I would engage with on at a frequency which was reflective of not just the strength of our textiles and apparel sector, but also the strong export interest, the strong logistics interest that was there in that sector. So let me cut in that backdrop, let me just share with you what is it that we in the Ministry of Civil Aviation are presently engaged in, which may be of interest to you. Needless to say that all of you are aware of the National Civil Aviation Policy of 2016, which already contains in it certain seeds or principles for logistics, cost reduction of logistics, time reduction in air cargo transportation, setting of standards, whether they are packing standards, whether they are process standards, infrastructure development, which is of the type that would suit the interests of the cargo community, and of course the seeds of regulatory aspects, including customs, textiles committee related clearances, and so on. So these, I would say, are the 5 pillars that we have already embedded in the National Civil Aviation Policy. The core aspect which I would request all of you to consider today is where the policy still falls short of your expectations. For me, that is the key reason for coming here today, that I want to hear from you for your sector, what are the specificities that you need to address through the National Air Cargo Policy. We, as you would doubtless have read in the papers and in various discussions by the Honorable Minister for Civil Aviation, it has been his endeavor to encourage us to come out with a specific air cargo policy, which is today embedded in the Ministry or in the National Civil Aviation Policy as one section. So there is in the Ministry of Civil Aviation a sense that air cargo deserves its own standing policy as a standalone document. So we are in the process of crafting such a document, and so we would welcome the textiles and apparel community, and obviously all other commodity groups also, to share with us on a very quick basis. You know your subject very well, and so therefore you would be in a position to share with us what needs to be done to gallop air cargo growth for the textiles and apparel sector. I can only say that, I can add that Indian air cargo growth is faster today than any other major country's air cargo or air freight growth. Boeing has projected as well for the next 20 years, Indian air freight will grow the fastest in the world, overtaking every other Asian player, every other European player in the game, every American or developed connecting points, country connecting points. So we are poised to grow, and obviously the reasons are for all to gauge. We have a huge number of aircraft orders already placed by our airlines, about 900 plus firm orders by our airlines have been placed for acquiring aircraft. These are wide-bodied, narrow-bodied, both. So belly capacity is set to increase in no uncertain terms. The freighter airlines, we understand, I'm sure SpiceJet will declare it by themselves, they are bringing in freighters. I'm not letting out a trade secret, I think, and most communities are aware of it. So to supplement the Blue Dart aviation, which had 6 freighters, which were plying the domestic market, you now have the prospects of, I think, 4 additional freighters being added from July onwards by Messrs. SpiceJet. So this provides a huge amount of increment in the cargo carrying capacity in India, both for connecting the domestic legs and onwards to the international legs. So that's one big parameter that I would urge you to keep in mind. The other is that through our efforts, we are in the process of setting up Delhi as a transshipment hub as well. And therefore, that means that domestic to international, or international to domestic and domestic legs, we are trying to ease the carriage, ease the processes for transportation. Of course, IDI will also be there. DDD is also there. IDI is going to take a little more time for us to get the regulatory process down, but for sure, IDD and DDI or DDD, the legs of any transshipment, we are well positioned to launch at least from Delhi in the next coming month or so, and in other airports like Mumbai, like Chennai as well, based on the model that we have. So I encourage you to look at the added connectivity in a seamless manner from the point of view of textiles and apparel. The third factor that is a new factor is multimodality. We are, as you know, in the Ministry of Commerce, there is a logistics division which has been created for the first time, and it has been given a very heavy task as well of creating a national logistics portal which is meant to bring multimodal connectivity into India in a structured and in a big way. So engage with them in the Ministry of Commerce, as well as with us wherever you feel that the multimodality, air, sea, air, rail, air, road, air, water, inland waterways, any form of multimodal connectivity can serve your interests, can serve the supplier's interests from geographical points which are at the moment not connected to the international takeoff points for air cargo. So this is another thing that we would like to invite your specific attention to. A fourth matter, and I think that is something, I'm saying it as the fourth, although I would have loved to have said it as the first, because that's very close to my heart. And that is reaching out to the suppliers and the consignees directly in the supply chain through the development of portals or booking platforms for your air cargo freight. All of us are well aware that passenger traffic gained a big boost the moment we, sitting at our homes, could book our tickets, passenger tickets, using a Make My Trip, yatra.com, a goibibo.com. If we went to their sites, we not only got a schedule of options, we got the rates, we got all kinds of facilities sitting at our doorstep. We didn't, I remember we used to go to an Air India office or to some other office to check what their schedules would be, and then our options were limited to that particular schedule, unless we were very enterprising, and then we walked to a Jet Airways office, and then we walked to some other office, and so on and so forth. I did ask myself as, why is it that we are not able to reach out to all the suppliers in all the tier 2 and tier 3 cities of India through an electronic or a digital booking platform for air cargo? This initiative we took up in the ministry, and I'm happy to announce that 2 private sector firms have developed this booking platform separate too. So you have not 1 but 2 booking platforms, and these are the first of their kind anywhere in the world. The excitement in the rest of the world is enormous when they get to know that India has managed to do something that the rest of the world could not do, for whatever be the reasons. So here is India's opportunity to bring in the competitive forces and the competitive pressures to bear on air freight by using these booking platforms, which can reach out to any SME supplier, any large sector supplier, any repeat supplier, a supplier with repeat orders, or schedules of cargo movement. So kindly look at these 2 platforms. One is called Rigel booking platform. It has been developed by Kale Logistics. Kale Logistics, as you would be aware, provide the IT systems for virtually 60% of the airports in the country. So they have been in the business for a while, and they saw an opportunity in this, and they have managed to set up those platforms. The second is Cargo Ego. You know, both these names are very interesting. I must take 1 minute and share this with you. Rigel is actually a supernova somewhere in the galaxies out there, in the universe out there. It is 840 times, its diameter is 840 times the size of our sun. So you can imagine the size of Rigel. And I have been saying that this multiplicative factor of 870 is symptomatic of what actually this booking platform can do to air freight. It can do to galvanize our shippers. So if there are 10 major shippers who are known in textiles and apparel. Of course, this is a very ridiculous number. The potential is to take on 870 times 10 number of shippers through this portal. So it will give you schedules, air freight, so that you can plan your cargo logistics in a manner that suits your specificities. The second booking portal, that name is also very interesting, Cargo Ego. Now, it could mean that cargo is going at a faster pace than, but it is also to say that cargo also has an ego. I used to always hear in the ministry that passengers come first and that a cargo which is booked onto a belly can be offloaded just because the passenger booking has increased and the fuel needs are now paramount. So it is possible that you've scheduled a shipment, but it's not going to take off on the scheduled flight because it does not have priority. So here is a booking platform which is telling you, yes, you didn't cry, cargo didn't cry when it was offloaded, unlike a passenger who when he gets offloaded, makes a song and dance about it. But here is a platform which is telling you, we will do your bookings in a manner which gives cargo the necessary ego. So I found these two thoughts very interesting, and I thought that I would share these with you. So please register on them. They are for the advantage of the suppliers and the shippers. I may also add that the interest to take over these booking portals is already evident from a number of discussions we are having with major global players that they would like to take over these booking platforms. Another very interesting thing that, again, it's an India first, that in the world, which I would like to share with you, is Mumbai and Schiphol Airport have developed the world's first e-freight corridor. They have entered into a memorandum of agreement, and the two cargo communities have agreed to trust each other sufficiently to share data on this e-freight corridor so that advanced information and verified information is reaching the regulatory authorities in advance of the arrival of the shipment so that all regulatory aspects can be taken care of in a timely manner. Well before the shipment arrives, so you would be in a position to know which of the shipments is to be taken out for physical inspection, which is not to be taken out for physical inspection. So there is ease of doing business which is implicit in the e-freight corridor, which Mumbai and Schiphol have for the first time worked out. I can share with you that we were in a meeting with the United States last week, and the moment we spoke about this corridor, there was a sudden interest in them that, yes, we can do it with Miami as well, or with some other airport as well. Of course, these are words at the moment. Till something fructifies, it's not there. But what has fructified is that there is an engagement which allows us to reach all of Europe through this e-freight corridor in a seamless manner. So once a shipment enters Schiphol, you know it's available for free movement, easy movement throughout the entire EU community of 28 countries. So please use this facility well. We will be entering into similar e-freight corridors with other governments as well, at other airports as well. It's not a government-to-government initiative. It is indeed an industry initiative as well, and we love it that the environment is enabling such industry initiatives. Now, a sixth initiative, which was a government-to-government initiative, is the actual development of an physical freight corridor between Kabul and Delhi and Kabul and Mumbai. The advantage of this the physical freight corridor has been that we have been able to facilitate the clearances of the shipments. So at Delhi, even though the security of this corridor, security concerns from this corridor are paramount, then also we are consistently showing cargo clearances in less than 4 hours on arrival into India. I'm sure you would be very surprised to hear that this is and this is despite the fact that the cargo has a mix of agricultural products and other products. So a lot of regulatory aspects come in as well. At Mumbai, again, the clearance time for cargo is of similar dimensions, less than 3 hours and so on. So here are certain mechanisms that are being put in air freight arena, which are innovative, which are meant to serve the logistics sector, reduce costs, reduce time, provide standards which are visible, performance which is visible. So I urge you as a textile and apparel community and those who are interested in air freight to take advantage of these and to tell us what more can be done. We are here to help you with that. And as I said, we are committed to bringing down, to removing the pain points and to introduce an ease of doing business, especially in the export-exim arena, which I'm sure will be a win-win situation for all participants in the value chain for textiles and apparels. With these words, I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful and valuable words. I would now request Ms. Smriti Suri to please come on stage and honor Ms. Vandana Agarwal with a token of appreciation. With a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. I would now like to invite Mr. Sanjay K. Jain, President, Confederation of Indian Textile Industry, to come over to the dais and deliver a few words.
A very good morning to all of you, and thanks for inviting me for this very important but I would say relatively neglected issue of logistics. We keep talking about the end customer, how to develop a market, but we hardly and rarely discuss how we are going to reach there in an effective and efficient manner. And I think so this is a great initiative to make people aware, for the industry to interact with those who carry its cargo and understand the nuances on both sides. A lot is always spoken about export, and Madam also spoke about export of air cargo to take our garments faster and quicker to our customer. As we all know today, no one gives us any time. But I'll just like to just divert a bit and dwell upon the domestic market and the issues with the domestic market when it comes to cargo delivery. Post GST, we have seen a sea change happening. Many companies have closed down depots which they had in various states because they are no more necessary. Earlier we needed them for the C form, F form, H form issues. However, they are no more needed. However, while doing this, we have, in a way, we used to stock at various points, and the typical transport companies who had warehouses and godowns would be a big source for us, not only for transporting, but also providing us warehousing and godown facilities. But I think so post GST and seeing the list of sponsors here, most of who are door-to-door carriers, I think, and we have worked with many of them in the past and are working with many. I think so it's a great opportunity for all of you to reconsider and rework your client base, because earlier we used to have depots where we needed warehousing facilities which were not available with most cargo companies, and hence we could not work with them. However, now that we have closed down depots, many companies have closed down depots and just put them in strategic points so that stock management is better. Now the need is to reach the customer in a much faster and quicker fashion. We have come away, like suppose I had a depot in Bhiwandi in Maharashtra, sitting from Calcutta. Now I don't have a depot, but I still need to reach my customer as fast as possible, because we all know seasons have crashed, seasons are not as long, and customers are not as tolerable as they were earlier. As we said, nahi aaya, koi baat nahi hai, kal bech lijiyega. Now they want it when they want it, and if it's there, or it's not there, they will even send it back. So a very important role is needed to reach out quickly, timely, efficiently. Not only to places like Bombay, which are relatively easy, but this demand has come to reach very small places, even small places in Bihar, like Motihari, Betia, etc. This service is needed efficiently, promises need to be met on number of days, and most important, we need to see how we can bring down costs. If there can be a huge latent demand, I can share, is there waiting for all cargo companies. If they're able to be more efficient, serve smaller places within the country, and do it within a reasonable cost. I'm not saying, because if you look at transport companies, they may be taking more time, but they also provide warehousing facilities which are not provided here. So I'm sure you can match up with the costs which were provided by transport companies, and we can really see a sea change of efficient delivery and being virtually closer to our customer. We may not look close, but when he wants something, we can deliver it to him fast and quicker. So with these few words, I know there's a whole galaxy of speakers lined up who will dwell and deliberate on all issues in a much more deeper fashion. But yes, we all need faster, quicker and efficient service. As Madam said, it's not only the time. Sometimes the time taken for clearances are such a big irritant, and it's not only at the airport, mostly at the ports. We are still a long way to go from what efficiency is provided by some of the other competing countries. Even close by countries like Sri Lanka have become such huge transshipment hubs because of the sort of service and efficiency they can deliver. I'm sure India, having multiple ports, having a very large coastline, can come up in a very fast way to become, and the more you become a hub and for shipment and services, your own country benefits doubly by things coming in faster and going out faster and more cheaper. Thank you, friends, and have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Now may I request Ms. Midisuri to hand over a token of appreciation to Mr. Sanjay K. Jain. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now, allow me to welcome to the dais Mr. Satya Prasad Sahu, Commissioner, Single Window, and Commissioner RI&I, Central Board of Excise and Customs. Sir, I would request you to greet the gathering.
Dignitaries from the textile industry, the logistics industry, and friends, I am very delighted to be here this morning to meet with you and to exchange views with you on uh, the uh, on the prospects and the situation on ready-made garments and the textile industry as a whole. So this morning I was scheduled to appear on a panel, which I will appear, but some of you requested that I should come and speak a few words initially in the morning to kick off the discussions for some of the future discussions during the day. And I would like to touch upon just a couple of points to emphasize that from a customs perspective, we are really geared up to meet your goals, meet the industry goals in terms of exports, in terms of expectations in logistics, and to be a true partner in to be a true partner with the business. So just to speak off my head on a couple of initiatives that are underway. The first commitment that we have is to make the cargo clearance process at the ports and the airports completely paper-free. Some of you may have noticed that we have come up with a Bill of Entry, Integrated Declaration and Paperless Processing Regulations 2018. Those regulations are designed in such a way that there is no assumption as to the use of hard copy paper in the clearance process. Likewise, the single window initiative allows for the paperwork to be filed electronically at a single point for clearance purposes, and the decisions will be coming back to the exporter or the broker directly on their system without the broker or the exporter having to approach any office. So typically as a shipper, we do not expect you to budge from your office and let the logistics service provider do the rest for you when it comes to cargo clearance. That is the expectation that we have of ourselves, and that is what we would like to see happen at your end as well. So that is as far as the logistics part is concerned. Now, with regard to the other thing that concerns you quite a bit is the refund of state levies, ROSL. That's another area where the Customs Department is engaged with the textile industry. As far as ROSL is concerned, it's a program that was launched by the cabinet. It's a cabinet decision. It's budgeted by the union government. It's provided. It started since 2016 and has been in will be in operation for 3 years. We've seen the first year of operation and we are into the second year of disbursals. We disburse as funds come, and till April, whatever was there we had cleared. Now more funds have come and we will clear more. So as such, please be assured that we will be following through with all the disbursals of the remaining claims during the course of the year. So that is what I would like to say as far as ROSL is concerned. As far as logistics is concerned, there are more and more measures on the way. Some of you would be aware that there is a self-sealing procedure that is underway for along with e-seals. That's now fully implemented. You are going to have further possibilities in the future to track your containers as readers of e-seal, RFID readers get installed along the way. That's not what we are doing. Partners in the logistics industry are doing that. So you'll be able to track your containers as they move to the destination. And that's not what we do. We just enabled it with the e-sealing part. The industry is pitching in for the rest of the things. So with regard to speeding up of the processes, of course, we are constantly reviewing our processes at the ports, and we would like to make sure that you meet your goals of just-in-time delivery for your buyers abroad. With those words, I would like to conclude my initial presentation. I'll be there for the panel this morning, and again I'll come with a presentation, PowerPoint presentation this afternoon. Thank you very much.
I would request Ms. Vandana Agarwal to please come over to the stage and honor